So during lockdowns and stuff, my hair got alarmingly long, rather disgustingly long when I look back at pictures. I don't know how you let me do that, but I thought of putting it in a ponytail, but we didn't have any hair ties in the house. So I'm just telling you this because from that day forward, I have seen hair ties on the ground everywhere I go. I am still seeing hair ties everywhere I go. I tend to pick them up and dispose of them, but if I had kept them, I could have opened a hair tie store. And this reminds me of times when I've decided to buy a car, say a sky blue Subaru Outback. And then I changed my mind because every single darn car on the road is a blue Subaru Outback. You really know what I'm talking about here? So my question is, where did these hair ties and blue Subaru Outbacks come from? I'm glad you know what I'm talking about. Psychologists actually have a name for this. They call it motivated perception. The idea that we tend to see what we're looking for. That we see things not so much as they are, but as we are. That what we choose to see and how we perceive what we see is unique. It's biased. It's framed by our perceptions, our experiences, our unique values, and what we choose to focus on. Wouldn't that be good to remember? I think that would be awesome to remember because I'm married. And it's amazing to me how Hillary and I, for 44 years, I've been amazed how differently we can see the same thing. And even more surprising to me is that every single time, I think I'm right. Would it be helpful to remember that people are seeing things the way they see them? And that it might not be the same way that we see them? I think that might come in a little handy right now. It's not what this talk's about, but anyway. So to me, people are big on the law of attraction, and I think there's truth to the fact that like attracts like and stuff, but it's very hard to convince me that I attracted all those blue Subaru Outbacks onto the road that day. It's hard for me to believe that I'm attracting hair ties wherever I go. I don't really think there's a shipping and receiving department in the universe that's awaiting my thought and then is sending those things to me. Again, this might be going on some level, but I think a lot more of this is due to the fact that my perception has changed. It's probably a bad example, blue Subaru Outbacks, because they are indeed all over the place here, but I don't think I attract them. I think they are always there. I think the hair ties are always there. It's not a great statement about people throwing their hair ties on the ground, but I'm noticing them now because this has become my focus. I call it the law of perception. So this is good news, folks. Oh, and by the way, motivated perception. We not only see what we're looking for, we don't see what we're not looking for. What was going on back there? Oh, okay. You were seeing, okay, well, that's just there. He can't do anything about that halo. I think I've shared this with you before, but in our ministry studies, we were shown a film, a short clip of a basketball game. And we were told to count the number of bounce passes the black shirted team made during this 2 minutes of a basketball game. So there's 24 people in the class, I think, something like that. And the first interesting thing was the clip ends and the teacher asks, so how many bounce passes? We got 24 different answers. Okay, that was the first thing. That's not the main thing. Then the teacher says, who saw the gorilla? And we're like, huh? And she shows the film again, and sure enough, there's a guy in a gorilla suit weaving his way. He tends to be away from the ball, but he's not hiding. He's weaving his way through the entire time. We're counting bounce passes. Not a single one of us saw the gorilla. We don't see what we're not looking for. We don't see things when we're busy looking for other things. This is a beautiful thing to know. Folks, what if blue Subaru Outbacks or hair ties or gorillas were things like love, peace, abundance, and joy? What if blue Subaru Outbacks and hair ties and gorillas were evidence of God in our lives, of love? And what if bounce passes were lack and limitation and division and separation and hate? What if we decided to look for the gorillas and not so much the bounce passes? Guess what? We would see a lot more love, peace, abundance, and joy, wholeness, oneness, yes, light, hope, and far less of the other things. I think I could stop right there. What are you looking for? Half the country has already decided the next 4 years are going to be horrible and full of darkness. If we really want that to be true, let's keep expecting that. Let's keep looking for it. But if we want something else, maybe we need to look for that. And what I'm saying here is not politics. I could say the same thing if the election went the other way. You know, Martin Luther King said we all may have come on different ships, but we're in the same boat now. And if we want this boat to be seaworthy, if we want this boat to contain and to express the things that we want to see in the world, then guess who has to be looking for those things? Well, thank you. Well, now I should stop. Yeah. You know, if we're not looking for these things, if we're not looking for light and hope and love and God in the world, then it doesn't matter that we're eternally swimming in a bottomless sea of all of that. We'll be like fish going, where's the water? Because we don't see what we're not looking for. And I know, and I'm not telling you I'm not telling you your feelings are wrong, whatever your feelings are. There's probably a lot of action that a lot of us are compelled to take to mitigate some of the things we fear might happen in the world. But in the meantime, can we be honest and look within ourselves and acknowledge that the seeds of everything we're worried about is in us? But also in us is, again, a bottomless sea of love, of joy, of hope, of light. We have the seeds of both. Which ones are we going to water? Which ones are we going to nurture? Again, I'm not, where's the stuff here? I am not suggesting that we ignore the things that we're worried about. I'm not suggesting that we put our heads in the sand. I'm not suggesting it's like, oh, unity's positive thinking. It's all la-di-da. It's Pollyanna. This is not what I'm suggesting at all. I'm suggesting that, again, we need to be looking for the things we want to see in the world, because love, by the way, folks, the only way love gets into this world is through you and me and through the half of the people who voted differently than we did. There's just as much love in the universe right now as there was a week ago. I don't know why I'm yelling at you so much. I'm excited. And again, so if we want to see God going forward, if we want to see love going forward, if we want hope in the world going forward, then again, we might want to look for it. I can't think of a more powerful action we can take right now. And we can start, guess where? Yeah, right in the mirror, folks. We can start. I don't think there's a single one of us that couldn't look for more good in ourselves. And I don't know if there's any one of us who couldn't stop looking for what's wrong within ourselves a little bit. Would you agree with that, folks? Because if we can see ourselves as good, beautiful, and true, and whole, then it's going to be a heck of a lot easier to see it out there. Isn't it? And sure, we know all kinds of things about ourselves. We know all the yeah buts to loving ourselves. And again, repeat after me. Personally, I don't care what you've done. I don't care what you haven't done. I don't care what you've said. I don't care what you haven't said. I don't care how you voted. I am going to choose to see the good in you, because guess what? All the good in me is in you. Just like me. There's nobody who's ever been better. There hasn't. I didn't make that up. The Buddha said it. The Buddha said you can search the entire universe for somebody more deserving of your own love and affection as you are, and you will not find this person. And I assume he looked everywhere in the universe, so we don't have to. Yeah. Let's start looking for what's good. Let's start looking for what's true and beautiful in ourselves. I don't know about you, but I used to be able to clearly see darkness in myself. It was easy for me to see lack and limitation. It was easy for me to gather evidence, again, that I didn't deserve. Does anybody relate to that? Easy. It was easy because I practiced. And it's ironic to me how easy it was when I was so clearly able to see things that don't even exist. They don't exist in and of themselves. They are the lack of something. Dark is the absence of light, folks. Where does the dark go when you flip the switch? It doesn't go anywhere because it was never there. It was the absence of something. So if we have gotten so good at seeing the absence of something, can't we get as good at seeing the something? You're supposed to say yes to that. Yeah, sure. Yeah, so yes, blue Subaru Outbacks, bad example, because they are everywhere, but so is everything we are looking for most deeply in life. Love. All the love in the universe is present in every little point of space, and you guys have a lot of points of space in you. Yeah, you can count them when you get home. Lots of them. We see what we are looking for, so let's start looking for the unlimited love, joy, peace, and abundance that is here. It's not just hair ties. And no matter how much evidence we may have gathered up to now about our limitations or brokenness, we can decide right now to start looking for something else. Like our highest truth. Like we can look deeply within and look past the seeds of darkness that are in us, but we can acknowledge them. If we acknowledge them, then we can go right past them to the other seeds that are in there. The true seeds, the real seeds, the beautiful seeds. And water those and nurture those. And they're in there, folks. If you look for them, you'll see them. You'll see them everywhere you go. And wouldn't it be nice to open a feel good about ourselves store? So we give a hair tie away with each sale. Yeah. Yeah. So it's a choice. It's a choice. Let's stop missing those gorillas. You know, we could start gathering evidence just as easily for the love that we are as whatever we might have been gathering evidence of before. Can't we? And again, like most things I recommend, does that sound horrible? Does that sound like torture? No. Just might be a little bit of a challenge because we've practiced. So maybe we can start each day, this coming week or two, by making an intention. What I'm going to look for today. What am I going to look for in myself today? What am I going to look for in the world today? And maybe we want to start with easy stuff, right? You know, if we're going to be with our loved ones, it might be easier to see love with them than going to a political rally. You start with the beauty that's easy to see, the goodness that's easy to see, the true stuff that's easy to see, like acts of kindness that are going on all the time. All the time. Like spending some time out in nature because, I don't see a lot missing or lacking or wrong there. How about you? So let's start easy and start gathering evidence for the presence of God. Because you know what? When things look hard and when things look dark, there's no less God. As Ty would say, God doesn't leave, we do. And we leave by looking for things that are not of God. It's pretty simple. It's just not so easy. And if we practice this, especially if we make an intention in the morning and we practice and we start with maybe some of the easier stuff, then it might even be possible when we get triggered by somebody who voted differently than we do to remember that they probably made a choice based on their values and their experiences and their perceptions. And that we can look for the good in them, even if they... Folks, there's been twice in the past 20 years that I can name where I would guarantee you didn't care how somebody voted. Both times we had a fire. When somebody offered you food, did you check their voting status first? Or helped? When people told us, 10 different people told us they checked on Hillary's parents to make sure they were okay. This was the 2007 fire. Do you think I cared? No, there's something magical that happens at times like that. We actually remember we are in this together. So, we may have all come on different ships, but we're in the same boat now. And I look around, and it's still pretty beautiful. So when those bounce passes appear in your consciousness, let's notice them. And then let's remember our intention. There are gorillas around here somewhere. And when I start looking for them, there they are. All right, let's close our eyes for a moment. Precious Spirit of love, we look deeply within right now. Right into these wide open heart spaces. We see, we feel, we know the unlimited good that's there. The unlimited hope. The unlimited wisdom. The unlimited ability to connect, to come together, to create. We see right now the world that we would like to create, the world we'd like to live in. And again, we make an intention to look for these things because they are there. Yes. Thank you, God. And so it is. Amen. Thank you.